Where the fuck are Bayley and Becky? Hey there YouTube, Wrestling Optimus here, back with another action figure review. Once again, it's Friday night, and you know what that means, time for Late Night Dynamite on TNT. Yup, the NBA playoffs continue to force AEW off Wednesday nights and into a ratings black hole. But I don't like basketball and I have nothing better to do on a Friday night, so I'm here with my plastic toys for some wrestling. Speaking of which, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more pro wrestling and action figure content. Now, we're headed into my custom dailies place, so for a recap and review, let's take it over to the action figures. Daly's place is back to its normal setup as Dynamite opens with the Pinnacle arriving by limo and Matt Hardy standing in the ring with TH2. He hired Angelico to take out Christian Cage, so that's our first match of the night. Christian sells his ass off, putting over yet another young guy. Meanwhile, because of his agreement, Angelico focuses mostly on inflicting pain rather than actually winning. That costs him as Cage hits a kill switch and picks up the victory. Matt Hardy and Jack Evans attack after the bell, but they're eventually chased off by Jungle Boy. During the match, Excalibur tells us all about Angelico. He was born in South Africa, moved to Europe where he met Ultimo Dragon, and then followed him to Mexico. I only say that so I can show off my Ultimo Dragon figure. Tony Schiavone brings out Cody Rhodes, Arn Anderson, and Arn's son, Brock, who's the spitting image of his father. He's also a trainee at the Nightmare Factory, and he's here ahead of his first televised match next week. As the fellow son of a legend, Cody is the perfect coach for young Brock. But of course, they're interrupted by QT Marshall. With the announcement that Dynamite is returning to the road, he challenges Cody to a South Beach strap match at the first stop, Miami. Then, he gets in a cheap shot hitting Arn with a strap before getting taken out by Brock. In trios action, Pac and Penta team up with Eddie Kingston to take on the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler, who doesn't exactly look medically cleared. The story here is that Pac and Eddie hate each other, but Kingston has convinced the bastard that the enemy of his enemy is his friend, so they're trying to get along. Meanwhile, the Bucks couldn't care less about their actual friend Brandon Cutler when he gets tagged in and isolated. Eventually, they join the action but keep accidentally kicking Brandon in his broken face. While they're busy with Pentagon on the outside, Eddie and Pac manage to work together and pin Cutler for the win. The Good Brothers join the Young Bucks in a post-match beatdown until Frankie Kazarian makes the save. Don Callis introduces a video he claims will blow the lid off a conspiracy against Kenny at Double or Nothing, but it's just clips of the match with bad editing and fake captions. Later in the night, Omega comes out and continues patronizing Jungle Boy, who simply replies, "You talk too much." They get into a brief scuffle, and Jungle Boy stands tall. The Pinnacle make their way to the ring and accept the various challenges from their respective members of the Inner Circle. After Dax Harwood talks about family, Cash Wheeler says he doesn't have a family, so he doesn't give a shit about other people's, especially Santana and Ortiz. Honestly, I wish more single wrestlers would say that. Shawn Spears is pissed that Sammy Guevara got famous at his expense and screams into the camera until Tully backs him off. Wardlow accuses Jake Hager of only challenging him inside an MMA cage because he can't win in a wrestling ring. Finally, MJF says he's tired of proving himself when he's already the best. Yeah, I know what he means. He idolized Chris Jericho until he realized that even the self-proclaimed GOAT wasn't on his level. Max is the only one to decline his challenge because he already beat Jericho twice. But Y2J doesn't like getting turned down, so he's out in the parking lot with the Inner Circle. They find the Pinnacle's limo, spray paint it, bash out the windows with sledgehammers, and slash the tires. While MJF yells for the police, Jake Hager brings out the forklift. It ends with Sammy telling Max he'll fight him any day of the week. Instead of finding another partner, Darby Allin says he wants to take on Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page by himself in a handicap match. Sting tries to talk some sense into him, but eventually agrees to stay home next week. In a promo later, Sky calls Darby stupid, and Page says actions have consequences. Ahead of his TNT Championship match, Evil Uno cuts a promo saying he wants to win the title in honor of his friend, Mr. Brody Lee. Fittingly, the Dark Order, including Brody Jr., join him on stage beforehand. Still, it's one thing to want the title, it's a whole other matter actually beating Miro for it. At one point, the Bulgarian takes out Stu Grayson and chases off Alan Angels, only for him to return with the rest of Dark Order. They try to pump up their guy, but when Evil Uno hits Mr. Brody Lee's famous discus clothesline, Miro no-sells it and sinks in the game over submission for the win. We get a proper hype video for Andrade El Idolo. Probably should have done that last week before debuting him without music and in front of a live crowd. Smart Mark Sterling is with Jade Cargill and claims her marketing revenues are up 43% across the board. Now they're trying to protect and monetize her catchphrase, "I'm that bitch." You have fun with that. Lance Archer squashes some jobber. Then the Wingmen offer Orange Cassidy a makeover. Next up, Nyla Rose takes on legit Layla Hirsch, who's been racking up wins on Dark lately all the way to a number 5 ranking. It's nice to see her face some actual competition for a change, and she goes right after the much larger woman. But the size and power advantage is too much, and eventually Nyla takes control. She works over Layla's arm in order to neutralize her submission holds, and finally wins with an Avalanche Beast Bomb. That leads us backstage with Tony Schiavone and Women's Champion, Dr. Britt Baker. She says Nyla Rose needs the title because it makes her, while Britt makes the title. Welcome to the DMD era. Taz joins commentary for the main event as the Machine Brian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs take on Hangman Adam Page and 10. Things start predictably with lots of power moves. After a commercial break, Hook distracts the ref and Ricky Starks tries to get Brian Cage to cheat, but once again he refuses, sending Ricky into a fit. He slaps Cage and gets chased through the tunnel, leaving Hobbs by himself. 10 hits a really cool looking ripcord cutter, followed by a buckshot lariat from Hangman to get the pin and pick up the victory. The Dark Order come out to celebrate with some beers, or in the case of Colt Cabana and -1, some water, as the show goes off the air. It's pretty obvious that with the temporary move to Friday nights and the record low ratings that have come with it, AEW is kind of phoning it in this month. Honestly, I can't blame them. Yet at the same time, this was a really fun episode for what it was. The wrestling was decent, I enjoyed every segment, and I can't really point to anything that was overtly bad. I know I sound like a broken record, but this is another difference between AEW and WWE. The former is good even when they don't have to be, while the latter is awful even when they have no right to be. Alright, that'll do it for AEW Dynamite on TNT. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I'll be back on Monday with my review of NXT TakeOver in your house, so check back then. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to do all that normal YouTube stuff. Smash the like button, share with any wrestling or action figure fans you may know, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word. You can also talk to me over on Twitter at WrestlingOptimus, or see all my best figure photography over on Instagram at WrestlingOptimus. If you haven't seen last week's Dynamite review, you can check that out right here. But until next time, I've been Wrestling Optimus, and I'll catch you later.